Class is in session, gang. We are back with another installment of Accademia Giallo. And this month, we're going to be talking about a 1971 film called The Fifth Chord. Now, I didn't pay attention to the spelling of this title when I decided, hey, let's do this one. I thought it had something to do with music. But that would be C-H-O-R-D. This is just C-O-R-D. And you
were thinking piano wires being wrapped around. Yeah.
Now, even now, I know that it's the fifth chord, as in something else you could wrap around somebody or something. I don't know what the title means at all. It's very confusing. I feel like I'm missing a beat, and that's why I'm sitting in the back of the class with my hand raised, saying, "Hey, professors, please educate me. Who are we? We are Accademia Giallo. I am Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. We have Steve, aka Big Swifty 500, and AC." AKA Dr. AC, AKA Horror 101 with Dr. AC. We're going to talk about this bonkers film starring Franco Nero. What I loved right off the bat is that there's no ambiguity as to whether or not this is a giallo film. How do I know that? Because in the scene following the opening scene, we have Franco Nero plastered out of his mind, driving a car, swigging proudly from a hold it up to the camera bottle of J&B Scotch. So we're off.
I felt like he was literally waving it at you, Ian. I was like going, here it is.
Waving it at me.
You want proof? Here it is.
Yeah, that's a double meaning. I love it. But no, from more than half a century in the past, he was reaching out to me in the future saying, "See, Gialli." But all right, Steve, would you be so kind? And by kind, I mean you're going to help me out.
Oh, buddy.
Oh boy, hold on a second.
I'm hoping you guys help me out with this one.
Yeah, I'm looking for an assist on this.
Well, before we do that, we've got skating in after the bell has rung, Brian Martinez of the Giallo Room. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing all right.
Excellent.
I just got done explaining to the class, and the class is going to explain to me what this movie is. But it is unambiguously a giallo because we got J&B Scotch within the first 3 minutes. So
one of the most iconic shots in the entire genre of J&B.
That's a great still.
Yeah, Franco Nero.
It's perfect. It's everything you would ever want from a giallo.
It really is. All right, so. Steve, do you feel comfortable synopsizing this film, or should I hand it off to someone else? Because I feel like I'm throwing this as a pop quiz. Really,
I think we should give it to Brian for being late.
I have this.
You could just read off the back of that.
You could read that because
read it.
I'm telling you, I've seen this movie 3 times. I watched it again this morning. I needed Wikipedia. I needed a glossary. I needed an appendix and an abacus to follow this plot and all these characters. So, Brian, be my guest, please.
Brian, take it away.
I mean, I gotta tell you, before we get into it, this has I haven't watched this in a while, and then I watched it twice within the last week, because it was just I forgot how iconic some of the shots are. Some of the shots are just gorgeous. The cinematography in this entire film, especially towards the end, that final, not the final sequence, but towards the end, that sequence with the big house. We'll talk more about it later, but oh my God, I was flabbergasted. I don't often say that word. I was flabbergasted by that entire sequence and forgot how amazing that sequence was. But anyway.
All right, so set it up for us.
Okay. The success of Dario Argento's The Bird with the Crystal Plumage ushered in a host of imitators seeking to capitalize on this new modern take on the giallo thriller. Many were highly derivative, but a number, this is, by the way, Arrow Video.
Of course.
Came out previous to COVID, I believe.
It was 2019.
Yeah, which
I have that one as well.
So this month, right? This is the anniversary of when COVID happened. So it's when I pulled this one out, I was oh man,
right? Wow. Okay.
Did you Lysol it down before putting it in your player?
No, hell no. I don't. It's funny because it harkens back to it. It's weird how the pandemic has done that, right? It's pre-pandemic and then post-pandemic.
I had completely forgotten that's right. It was the second week of March, right?
Yep.
2020.
Yep.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
I'm often reminded because March is my birthday, so it's like it's an unfortunate reminder. You know.
It's
But
mad.
anyway, I'm gonna skip
Madness.
ahead to the actual synopsis because it goes on as Arrow does, which no fault onto themselves.
God bless Arrow Video.
Yeah, they like to talk about everything, including the movie. When a man barely survives a brutal assault en route home from a New Year's Eve party, washed up, whiskey swilling journalist Andrea Bild, Franco Nero, the amazing Franco Nero from Django, is assigned to report on the case. Before long, the maniac strikes again, this time with fatal results. As the body count rises, like any good giallo, Andrea falls under suspicion himself, making it even more imperative that he crack this goddamn case. Doesn't say goddamn.
No, it sure does.
Just adding a little color. His only clue lies in a series of black gloves, which chef's kiss, found at the location of every attack, each with a finger cut off. Adapted from a novel by David MacDonald Devine, The Fifth Chord boasts a complex Agatha Christie-esque plot, outstanding cinematography, courtesy of future Oscar winner Vittorio Storaro,
three-time Oscar winner
from Apocalypse Now.
Wow.
And supporting appearances by a raft of genre stalwarts, including Sylvia Monti, from A Lizard in a Woman's Skin.
Yep.
Edward Purdom from Nightmare City.
And Pieces.
And Pieces, yes. Can't forget Pieces. I wish, dude, if there was one episode that I wish I could have like take a time machine back and be on, it was the Pieces episode on the show. But anyway.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about Pieces again at some point, so don't worry
I hope
about
so. And Rosella Falk, Sleepless, debuting here in high definition, arguably the most visually stunning giallo ever made.
Ooh,
now shines like
that's
never
arguable
before.
For sure.
That is definitely
Totally
arguable.
I think it's beautiful. There's
too.
a shot where they're in the car and you got the reflection, right? Like when they're Franco Nero's talking to what's her face, and it reminds me of like Pulp Fiction-esque, like kind of shots that are made just for the beauty of it. You know what I mean? But anyway, beautiful copyright here.
Well said, sir.
Yeah, I was before we went live. I was telling the guys, just as a tribute, I made my background my Venetian blinds because I don't know, Brian, have you noticed that there's Venetian blinds in 98% of the scenes in this movie?
Oh yes,
it is so amazing. I love it. You could come up, in my opinion, you could come up with a new title for this movie, a little bit more even giallo-esque. I came up with 5 blue Venetian blind cords.
Ooh, okay.
You know the cords that you pull on the Venetian blind?
Yes, of course.
There you go. But interestingly enough, I was wondering, I was like, why is it called the fifth chord when the sign that the murderer leaves is always the gloves? And apparently, I think in the novel, I didn't read the novel, but I think it refers back to the cords being the cords that pallbearers carry the coffin with at funerals.
Oh,
interesting.
So apparently, you know, if you're one of the honorary people to have the privilege of carrying and being a pallbearer, they call that being a cord.
How many cords are there usually?
I don't know. I would imagine 6, but
okay.
No, there's 4 because this is the 5th one. It's the ethereal one, man. No, I have no idea. I was thinking chords like, I don't know, digits because there's 5 fingers on a hand. Well, 4 if you count and then the thumb. But the original title for this, or an alternate title, was Black Day for the Ram, which apparently was also trying to capitalize on the bird with the crystal plumage. The sorry, what? Over the Aries.
For Aries?
The sign, Aries.
Yeah, right. The whole horoscope.
Which ties into the whole reveal. Right?
Bad day for the ram. I like that.
Yeah, that's the thematic, in universe definition of that, kind of the meta marketing, I guess, was because of the success of Argento and movies coming out with the animals and bugs in the titles. So they're like, yeah, let's capitalize on that. But they came up with the fifth chord. I think Black Day for the Ram would have been far superior.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because my buddy, I got a couple of friends that own Dodge Rams, and every day is a bad day for them. So.
There you go. Says the Volkswagen guy, right?
Well, weren't they also in the Super Bowl this year and did not win? So
I believe so.
Yeah.
If you follow sports, yes.
That was
I would not know. I just made that up, folks. So
right.
All right. So getting into the meat of the movie, we also have a score by Ennio Morricone.
Yes,
which is so freaking good. Yeah,
absolutely beautiful.
What I love about this film is it's got one of those openings that puts most of the main players in the same room during an event, and eventually without any dialogue, and eventually you see how they all kind of interconnect. We are talking spoilers here, so what I'm about to say is jumping way ahead of things. Okay. But this is one of the problems / benefits of watching the movie in 2026, a film that came out 55 years ago, is there's a shot where Andrea is looking at a woman who is, or maybe, I don't know if he's actually looking at them, but the camera is looking at a woman who is kissing someone very passionately at the stroke of midnight, and there's another person watching them. And they do that thing where the camera turns and the couple turns and the woman looks up from her passionate embrace and she notices she's being watched by this guy. And then she kind of turns again and we see the guy that she's kissing look up from their passionate embrace and realize that he's being watched too. And the two men exchange a meaningful look. Now, back in 1971, I'm sure that was meant on that surface level to say, oh, these guys hate each other. But immediately I was like, no, those people are lovers. That's a jilted lover's look. And it turns out, spoiler alert, times 10, that was that's the killer, that's the motivation, it's jealousy, and all these other people had to die in order to cover up the original crime. So that's the fifth chord. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back in May. So,
well, good on you, Ian. I did not pick up on this. This is the first time I'd seen this one.
Me too. I watched it this morning.
Interesting.
I've had it in my collection for years. Just have not gotten around to it. And what's hilarious is that I later found that it's streaming on AMC, it's streaming on Tubi, it's streaming on
everywhere.
Boston. It's everywhere. I was like, I could have been watching this anytime I wanted, but
I was glad. The definitive version.
I was glad to be watching it on the Arrow video because you get you get the Italian version, you get the American version. They have some awesome featurettes, interviews.
Which did you prefer, AC?
I watched it I watched the Italian version with English subtitles.
Gotcha.
So
I watched the English version, and I think Nero did his own voiceover.
Yeah, he does his own. That's his
good.
voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very interesting. Well, how much of a discrepancy is there since you did watch?
There's a couple scenes where, like for example, if this just caught,
we don't know which one is streaming, everybody. So it could be the Italian, could be.
As soon as you hit play, you'll find out.
You'll know.
Yeah. But no, so let me say this because
Okay, I'm letting you. I'm letting
crazy.
You. The space is clear.
I'll totally forget it if you
go.
Yeah, right. So okay. So there's a scene towards the end where he's talking to what's her face?
Lou,
yes. And
how'd you do that? That was great. Anyway, continue.
Ian and I share this
clearly
symbiotic.
I was like,
here's the thing. There's a character, there's an actress in this movie, our Lou character, who is played by Pamela Tiffin, who to me looks like the perfect blend between Rosamund Pike and Edwige Fenech. And so if Brian is going to be talking about our main character talking to a woman, I'm going to assume it's the one that bears a resemblance to Edwige Fenech. So it's not a great psychic leap. It's just shallow math.
Okay. But what does she say towards the end, right? Like I know we're talking spoilers or whatever, but she talks about her sign, or like Tuesdays, right? Tuesdays
with
are
Maury,
not good. Like
Well, no, because that's Sylvia Monty. That's Helene.
Okay, that's who I meant then. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm
not
terrible
Lou.
with names.
So I was wrong, but still.
I prefer Sylvia Monte anyway. But
yeah,
but no, in the Italian cut, she says that her fortune teller or whatever tells her that her sign tells her that today is a bad day or whatever.
Yep.
Whereas in the American cut, she just says, "Oh, I fucking hate Tuesday," or she doesn't say "I fucking hate Tuesdays," but she's like, "Tuesday is really bad for me." So it's those little tiny details.
I think she says that you're because the woman who writes for the newspaper is the horoscope columnist.
Right.
Yeah,
I think she does say that. She says your horoscope person told me.
In the English one?
Yep.
Yeah, she did mention the horoscope.
And maybe I'm reversing it then. Maybe I'm reversing it.
Yeah. Are there additional scenes, or is it just kind of like the way
it's the translation stuff. Like,
okay, yeah, because I actually that's why I like doing that. I like just seeing like what people are actually hearing versus what's being said. Because there were things that were radically different, and you're like, I hope this bit of information shows up later because it seems like it might be important.
Right. And plus, I want to also add to Ian's point from earlier. With the kiss and everything, like Jesus Christ, so many things happen just in the opening credits, right? Like it's like what the hell? All these characters, the looks, the freaking the music, the lights, just everything. It almost reminds me of like that Blood and Black Lace opening.
Yes,
because it's stylistic in that way. Right?
I was just going to say that, Brian, and thankfully they had that opening because there's so many characters in this movie. Oh my god, yeah. You know, they did it the opening shot is beautiful, by the way, with that fisheye lens and the voiceover, and they're going through that New Year's Eve party. I was almost hoping it would be something like in the realm of Blood and Black Lace, where they would say, the character's name, like in the beginning credits of Blood and Black Lace.
You keep track of them all.
I'm telling you, I took notes on this, and I'm still lost. It's crazy.
I am too. I had my notebook out, and I was jotting down scenes and notes, and unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to breeze through Wikipedia to make sure that I had everything intact, but I figured y'all will help me out. But I don't know if that's the case, because as we're establishing, this movie is very confusing, and that there's a lot of stuff and information and dialogue and character relationships that are kind of thrown at you. Normally that bugs the crap out of me when I'm watching a movie, because it is often a filmmaker's way of suggesting there's more going on, or creating action or eventfulness through cluttered dialogue rather than having the action carry you through. That is not the case here. This movie moves. There's a lot of great stuff to experience here, even just as a horror movie. Like the last 15 minutes of it are tense and scary, and also like stand up and cheer hilarious, which we'll get to that. Brian, you kind of alluded to that earlier, but sorry, I'm cutting you off, Brian. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say too, like that voiceover in the beginning too, where you get to sort of hear the killer's monologues, right? It kind of harkened me to back to like a Tenebrae, even though Tenebrae was done much later. But that voiceover thing where it's like it kind of throws you off in the beginning, but it's also like it's inviting you to a very integral piece of this whole mystery by like being right in front of your face, but you still don't know. You know what I mean? So it's like it's that thing. It's the thing from like it also reminded me of like towards the end, but a lot of similarities to like a Torso, where it's like in Torso that decision to just drop the key or whatever, right? Like towards the end outside the door, or to move I forget what it specifically is, but to move the paper, right? So it's like, or to put the key where the paper is coming out or whatever, right? Like, so those little tiny decisions are what sometimes creates the entire memory for the movie. So like at the end, with that amazing scene that we'll talk about, which we're alluding way too much to right now, but like the decision to crack open the door just slightly, right? Like the decision to, just open with that monologue, just to kind of plant you, because really like this film doesn't have a lot of gore in it. It doesn't have a lot of in your face stuff, right? Where it's like stylistically, they're not catering to that. They're catering more to the ambiance of things. So you get the scattered bits of beauty. You get you definitely get the cinematography where, that cliche thing where you can pause it and it's a art piece somewhere or whatever. You can kind of do that with this movie, but I think it peppers in a lot of those interesting elements that really make Giallo a Giallo without really putting it into your face. You know what I mean? Like you have the POV shots, you have the voiceover in the very beginning. You have the black, and that's the thing I was going to say. The black gloves scattered everywhere. They're used, but they're used so differently. So it's like there's a lot of cool elements that definitely throw like it's a giallo. This is a freaking giallo, but it's not a giallo that you're used to, which I think is really great. And Franco Nero's in it. So
yeah, well, I think there's I want to talk about the gloves because you're right, they're a calling card. I don't think the killer actually ever uses the black gloves in the commission of the crime. They're using those kind of yellowish tan plastic rubber gloves, right?
Rubber gloves, yeah.
Which is, those kind of freak me out even more than seeing the black gloves because they're not
the
as
same
cool looking.
Aren't they the same from Black Belly of the Tarantula?
Yeah, they look very similar.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, because there's that one shot,
cinematic universe or something, or no?
There's the one shot that does this or whatever, right? And then I was like, oh, I swear to Christ, that was from Black Belly, but I don't know. I might have been.
Yeah, where he's coming at the kid. Yeah, I mean, like that was, and yeah, it's very distinctive. It's kind of like it's almost human, but it looks like kind of weird because the coloring and the smoothness of it. But yeah, I was. So you alluded in your description of the Arrow video, release that like where this falls in terms of context. And I think the things you're talking about right now, like this is so early in the Gialli cycle, like Bird and Crystal Plumage just happened. This comes out like midway through 1971. So our director, Luigi Bazzoni, like Bazzoni. It makes me hungry. He's definitely not somebody who is coming from a horror or giallo background. He's just one more filmmaker who's like, hey, this is a way to hop on what's hot right now in Italy. And he recruits, like you say, Vittorio Storaro, who is our amazing cinematographer. But he also like grabs the editor from Good, Bad, and the Ugly, and for a few dollars more. So I mean, he's working with some top-notch talent, and it's pretty apparent because this is a solid film. I agree that it is super dense in terms of the plot. Like, and what's for better or for worse, when you get to the end of it, it doesn't really matter. Right. Like all of that is just it's like red herrings galore. Like in fact, the killer is killing to distract people from his actual target. So it's like there is no pattern. Yeah.
It was a definite giallo ending where, I mean, it was a head scratcher in the fact that, he wanted to kill this woman because she was, stealing his boyfriend, but then he just goes on a rampage and gets,
every Tuesday though.
Every Tuesday. Yeah. I guess he had that day off. I mean,
that's the thing. It's interesting because during the film, you don't really get a sense of the time passage here.
Yeah,
it feels like this could all be happening within a couple of weeks.
Right. But with that reveal, right?
When they have the reveal of the Tuesday pattern, and Andrea is going through the different records of the kills. It's like, okay, this one happened, the attack happened on a Monday on New Year's Day. And that was when our character Lubbock, who ended up becoming the killer, was attacked in the tunnel, but not killed. Every murder happened on a Tuesday, but it was like February, March, April. I think
that's the thing
brought up to May. And it's great because you realize in that moment, wow, we've been watching this go on for a long time in movie time, but it doesn't, it's still a brisk hour-and-a-half film. It's not like 3 hours of like, this has been dragging on for months.
And you try to do the math on like how many drinks Franco Nero has gone through over the course of that. I was like, this guy is so deep in the bottle.
Well, okay. I got to talk about his relationship with Lou. Who is that a girl? She's not a woman of the night. That's a different girl, right? Who gets stabbed by the bonfire.
Yeah.
With the maniac father. So Lou is just a girl that he's seeing, and one of like many probably. That relationship is beyond messed up, and I got to say, we might have
weird if you make it weird, Ian. Come on,
right?
Okay. Well, Ian, let me ask you something. What you get smacked around on, evening number one, and evening number two, you're faking your own death to turn your lover on.
That's right. That's right.
This is what I'm talking about.
It works for them. And then she goes and gets
1971 was totally different.
What's so weird about that?
Look, maybe it's
another Saturday night for me.
Well, this past Friday night, I was doing a live stream about Blade Runner, and of course, we come to the scene that like completely destroys that movie for a lot of people, including me, of Harrison Ford having his way with Sean Young, and it's like you could have just taken out that 3 minutes of the movie and had it not be gross. But now I'm watching this, and Andrea comes back to the apartment and Lou's there, and she's kind of like teasing him, and he ends up like slapping. It's not a slap, it's a punch slap. I mean, it's a belt,
yeah.
And she's like trying to rearrange her jaw, and then he gets upset, and then he leaves, and he like walks out the door, and the next shot is him getting out of his car and walking into an apartment. So I'm like, okay, this is sometime later and he's going somewhere else. No, he's coming back into his apartment. It's sometime later. He sees his dead girlfriend lying on the bed with her throat slit. And she just gets up and they have like this tickle fight and they're chasing each other around the room and they're going at it. I'm like,
it's the cutest thing.
It works.
It's the cutest thing. It's the cutest thing.
And then she goes and gets married to somebody else because she knows he's not good for her. They had their laughs.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing I love about a great messed up hard-boiled detective, because it almost doesn't matter.
Just a journalist. Let's be clear.
No, he's a detective. I mean, he's in the great line of giallo movie journalists where they occasionally stop into the office to write something, but mostly they're acting as detectives.
It's like, have you actually typed a single word, my man? Have you ever hit a deadline?
But he wears a mean raincoat.
Oh man,
yeah, man.
Franco Nero is so hot in this. He's so
like all year long, actually, technically, right?
And his hair is like 4 feet tall. It's great. Yeah. I love it.
Like in the summer, he's wearing it. In the winter, he's wearing.
Oh yeah, he's like Columbo.
Yeah.
Well, and I was looking at the timestamp on this because Django was 66, so he's been a major star for 6 years already.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, okay, I want to pull over for a second because we do have some comments. I neglected to read the the comments disclaimer, and I've got one in here that's going to give me a perfect opportunity to do so. All right, so Jonas Hallberg back with us again. Good evening. Good evening,
How
Jonas.
dare you, sir? Don't say things like that.
No, it's not him, and I'm not talking about him. Anybody seen the new movie by the American couple Reflection, or the Amber couple, Reflection of Dead Diamond?
Not yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
I started that the other night and fell asleep, so I have to get back to it.
Oh, I was going to say maybe we could talk about that.
It was really late.
Maybe
super late.
Morconi says, "Buonasera, big fan of your Gialli vids. This is a good one. Thank you."
Look at that avatar. That's awesome.
Yeah, love it. For a second, I was like, "Wait, is that the Baron?" And then
I thought so too.
All right, so we do have another comment in here that I'm not going to read.
Okay.
Because here's my comments disclaimer: only respectful and/or relevant comments will be read on the show. If you're dropping in to troll, insult, or post nonsense, don't waste your time. We won't be wasting ours. We got enough nonsense on the panel that we don't need any from the peanut gallery.
Story.
So I'm skipping over one. YRN 4895. I like the Italian dub better because the killer's voice is a lot creepier, and it's heard a lot more during the chase scene in the park. I watched the American.
That is true. Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
So in the chase in the park with the editor, is that it?
Yeah. He keeps saying his name over and over again as he's pursuing him.
Oh, that does sound cool. All right, so
let's talk about that scene in the park. It's funny because I've been going back and watching some of the episodes, and one of the things I frequently say, probably way too much, is, wow, what great cinematography, right? This movie, you have to say great cinematography. This movie, without the cinematography, I don't think this movie would be 1/3 of what it is. The scene when his editor is getting chased in the park, I've never seen a more blue scene in my life. I used to think Mario Bava's The Whip in the Body was the quote unquote bluest movie I've ever seen. This takes the cake. It's just beautiful. The whole composition of that scene, And the scene later in the movie when Julia is being stalked in the park after she turns the trick.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the killer's POV with the fisheye lens going around. She's by the fire and she's by those pillars. And the way that scene is shot with the camera work going around the pillars and the focus and the composition of those scenes is so beautiful. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I've never seen such beautiful cinematography in a giallo like this before. It was mind blowing to me.
Yeah. Vittorio Storaro. I mean, like,
it's amazing.
And I think what's interesting is, I mean, when we talk about like Argento's approach to cinematography, it's about the moving camera and kind of the balletic quality, like the camera that going places you can't imagine it going and moving in directions you can't imagine. Vittorio Storaro's approach is the lighting. Like you said, like we have so many Venetian blinds and so many things are shot through lenses and off of people's glasses and things like that. So I think that's kind of how he's approaching it, is from a lighting standpoint. And you have those silhouettes, you know, we talked about the staircases backstage, you know, I think he's always looking for the architecture of the frame so that he can build something that's stimulating to the eye in a way that is not the Argento like driving camera. I was like, I feel like it's easy to say that, you know, this era of giallo is derivative of Bird with the Crystal Plumage. And I would say that there are elements of Bird with the Crystal Plumage certainly here, but I also feel like it's its own thing. And it is, I mean, we don't have a hero, you know, we have a guy who's just hanging on by a thread, you know, he's not good at his job. He's not good with women. He's drinking himself to death. He may or may not have fathered, you know, a child, you know, that I do want to come back to that actually. Cause I mean, I feel like that element is interesting and unaddressed. But yeah, I mean, so it's not a retread, I guess is my point, is that it's not Bird with the Crystal Plumage Part 2. It is its own thing.
Yep.
Well, and to add to that, go ahead.
Just to add to AC's point there, like you almost feel like, you know, there's certain movies that like they just pretty much crack whatever this genre is, right? It's like it's that first, like you crack that egg, right? And then the other one, the one that comes after, it doesn't necessarily have to be the next one, but the next one just like explodes it all over into whatever, right? So it's like you thought this was it, but no, this is really it. This is what it can be, right? And then you have the peripherals that come out where it's like they take it and then just expand it even further. I think Bazzoni does that here, where it's like it's taking riffs off of this and this and this. Like, would this have existed without Bird with the Crystal Plumage or whatever?
Probably not.
Right? But like you have the people that just do it just because it's, you know, oh, it's the next big thing already or whatever, right? And then you have the people that just add to the fire, you know. They just
like Sergio Martino, you know.
Yeah, like a Sergio Martino, like you know, Fulci, like all these guys. That's why, like, I wish Bazzoni went on to do much more in this genre.
Absolutely,
because oh my god, he had the eye for it, like without any kind of effort, you know. It was he was a natural.
He went on to make a film in '75 with Florinda Balkan called Footprints on the Moon.
Yeah, have you seen that?
I've seen it. It's again, is it giallo? That's up for debate, but it has that feel. It's strange. A lot of, you know, gaslighting. Same editor, I believe, and Vittorio Storaro was the cinematographer on that. Plus, it's got a brief couple of scenes with Klaus Kinski in it. So
he
take that for what it's worth.
Bazzoni also did The Possession, or no, The Possessed.
Possessed,
right?
yeah.
The Possessed.
Yeah, that was Bazzoni's first horror / mystery / giallo. Yeah,
and you know, a lot of people like kind of rake that into the genre, saying that's one of those movies that you could kind of go either way. You could do
it's more Hitchcockian, I think.
Yeah, that's how I've always taken it.
Yeah,
but it's interesting to see his progression, right? Like from this, I totally not forgot, but I just wasn't thinking of Footprints like until you mentioned it. So yeah, it's like he's definitely, he's not your run of the mill, like, gun for hire giallo director. Like he's actually bringing his own elements into this.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's what it's sort of, 40 plus years later, we would see in a completely different genre, what Marvel with their comic book movies, they started bringing in people from outside of the, action comic book movie genre. I mean, you look at the Russo brothers, they came from like sitcoms, and they made the biggest comic book movie ever made in Infinity War and Endgame. But I do want to talk a couple of things. One, about those staircases, because we had a little mini rivalry backstage, which Brian, you missed because you came in late. Anyway,
he was texting with me, so that's why he was late.
Oh, okay. Were you guys sharing meaningful looks from across the New Year's Eve dance?
I mean, yeah.
No. But we talked about the blinds, and I said I didn't even really notice the blinds because I was so focused on the stairs. Because there's so many spiral staircases in this movie. I'm like, I didn't even realize. I feel like it's mathematically impossible to have that many spiral staircases in one city as we do in this film. But then I was thinking, and there might be a commentary or some kind of a video essay on one, the error release or somewhere else. But my artsy fartsy sensibilities kicked in. I was thinking, okay, you don't need a spiral staircase, really. You can just have a staircase, go straight up and down, between levels. The spiral staircase is all about style, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of the meta thesis of this movie. You could just have this straight up and down, story of this guy who's chasing a killer or chasing a story, but they have all of this windingness, corkscrewing throughout the story. They're like, does this mean anything? No. You got to start at the top of the stairs, you get to the bottom of the stairs. One way to do it is very straightforward and pretty conventional, and probably like a lot of other movies we discussed here. And then you've got the corkscrew method, which adds a lot of visual intrigue, some narrative intrigue, but at the end you're like, this is kind of a beautiful way to get from one place to another. I will say one thing I thought was kind of inelegantly handled is that forest pursuit. Now I agree, it looks great. But this is where I had to turn off my critic brain. I was fighting with the switch the entire time because the editor, what is it, Trevini? What's his name?
I'll get it for you in just a second here.
I think it was Eugenio Alabiso.
That sounds right. Yes. Eugenio Alabiso.
Yeah, that was the character's name.
That was
you mean sorry, we're talking about the film editor. Yeah. No, the character, I don't know his name, but he's the editor. We know who you're talking about.
Okay, so he's leaving
Franco Nero's boss.
Right, Franco Nero's
boss. I thought you meant the film editor. Okay.
That's my fault because we were talking about the film editor and we're also talking about the editor of a paper, which our main character allegedly works at. But the only time we see him at the office is when he's arguing with someone who's probably going to fire him. Anyhow, the newspaper editor leaves the office and he's constantly looking around to see if he's being followed because he gets this suspicion early on that he's being watched. And it's this long, it's like his office is in the middle of a forest preserve. He's taking the long way to get to his car. Beautiful greenery all around and this nice paved sidewalk that he's going on. But he's constantly looking around. He's paranoid. Meanwhile, we've got the killer POV in the woods stalking him. We can hear on the soundtrack, and maybe it's different in the Italian dub because that apparently has the guy calling our editor's name, kind of teasing him. But in the American version, you can hear every rustle, every bit of grass. How does this guy, especially if he's aware that he feels like he's being watched, how does he not hear that? Like, yeah, there's someone over there. I hear him walking in the woods. But then he's taken by surprise in what I think is a great idea, but poorly executed. And I'm going to put this on the editor because I think if you just taken this shot out or reframed it or something, or well, that's the cinematographer's job, really, it would have been delivered in a much more elegant fashion because we see the hand jut out with the knife, but you don't see contact with the body. And that's because the killer just scared the guy to death. Literally, he stumbles around almost as if he's been shot, or not shot, but stabbed, and then he dies of a heart attack. It's a great idea for a kill. But in terms of me watching, I had to rewind a little bit because I'm like, did he make contact? Is there blood on the blade? I don't think so, but there's all sorts of shadows playing with the light of it. in such a great moment or such an idea of a moment, I think what you want is clarity and not the audience sitting there thinking, what am I actually watching here? And that's the feeling that I got anyway.
Well, they started out the scene, the scene prior when Nero was fighting with the editor. You could see that he has a heart problem because Nero grabs him and he shakes him, and the guy's like grabbing his chest, and he has some sort of medication in his hand, and he's hitting on it. Apparently, I don't know, it's something with his heart. So I think it's rather humorous that the killer knew that just flashing a switchblade at the editor would scare him so much that he would just have a heart attack and die. I mean, yeah, that's a little out there, but
I wonder about that though, because do you think that, and this we'd have to get inside the killer's head, which would blow the whole reveal, but do you think that he was surprised that he didn't actually have to do anything? You think he just watched him like, oh wait, this guy's gonna have a heart attack? Maybe he missed with that initial jab. Yeah.
Well, like watching that scene, I was actually disoriented. Like I think that that's kind of what it was going for. But like I was also distracted with the often when you see like a nice giallo film, they sort of get the little details right, and that flash of the blade, you know what I mean, like that little shine of it in the sunlight or whatever, like it just captures it. It's almost like hypnotizing. So for me, it was like, ooh, and then like it like misdirects you. So it, like you said, he dies a different way, but you thought like, because you haven't seen any gore yet, like, at this point of the film. So you're thinking like, wow, is this going to be the part or whatever, So for me, like, I remember the first time I watched this, that's kind of where my head was at, like, just what's going to happen? Like, I'm like all over the place. Like, yes, the rustling and the noise is there, just like my dog barking. But but like, I was just more disoriented with like which direction we were going to go at, like in terms of the actual kill.
Can we talk about Franco Nero's? Oh, go ahead, Ian.
I was going to say, I don't want anyone to get the idea that I'm trying to find fault with this film. I think it's really excellent, and there's a couple scenes I want to talk about that really highlight the excellence of what Bazzoni does here. But it's just these little moments that kind of took me out. I'm like, if this had been just a little different, I would have been completely immersed rather than what am I watching? But AC, before we go, I want to talk about, they're not exactly bookend moments, but they're kind of like pre-climax, climax bookend moments with the lady who's got, she's crawling around on the floor as she's stalked throughout her house towards the beginning of the film. Yeah. And the little boy who may be Andrea's son at the end of the film. But before we get into that, AC, go for it.
Well, I was going to say, you better not try and find fault with this film, because Franco Nero will grab you by the lapels. He grabs everybody. He grabs everybody in this friggin' movie. If you have any kind of clothing on, he's going to grab you by your lapels and shake you around. And he's real good at it.
And he's really good with the backhand.
Oh man, the backhand.
Dude, first of all, I think we need to there's like the Irish goodbye. I think this is the Franco Nero hello.
Hello,
this is how he like walks into a room and deals with people.
As your resident self-defense instructor, if somebody grabs you by the lapels, knee him in the groin. Right then. Right then.
Well, it wouldn't work because I'm pretty sure he's got a bottle of J&B stuff down there. You'd be hurting yourself. But I think, all right, I do want to talk about one of the earlier, I think it's the first actual murder in the movie. There's this guy, Beanie, who works as he's a doctor.
Right.
And he's got a wife. They were both at the party, but they weren't really together at the party.
He's got the invalid wife. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Sophia.
Yeah, Sophia, great. Thank you. She's confined to her bed, and it's nighttime. She's hanging out, and he's like, I've got to go take care of a patient, or I got to go do something. She's like, okay. And you can tell there's no love between them, really.
Hang on. She is definitely pining for him. I get the sense that he is lost interest in her.
Yeah, she begs him to sleep with.
Really, yeah. And I was wondering, like, what the injury or illness, like how long that had been part of their lives, because it's clearly, you get the sense that maybe that is what has caused him to drift away from her. But no, she's definitely still into him.
Well, my recollection of this, and this is again like 4:30 in the morning, so it's a little hazy. But when we first see them in the bedroom together, she's reading a book, and he comes in, and she doesn't really acknowledge him until he says that she's going out. That's just my reading of it. I might have missed something else because
I mean, he's
a lot to pay attention to here. Yeah, he's
in that opening.
Yeah,
in that no, he's not anyway. In the opening, like New Year's Eve introduction, like she's kind of sitting, with her crutches and not able to participate. And then she's home in the bed because and boy, do they not have that set up. That place is not set up for her to have, like, her wheelchair's way over there.
Yeah.
Her crutches are way over there. The phone's way over there. I'm like,
her water. She can't even get a drink of water.
Like, has anybody thought this through? Like, how? Anyway.
Well, especially because later on in the film, it's revealed that Beanie, as a doctor, he prescribes medication to patients, and because he doesn't want them to have to worry about, the pharmacy is closed, he leaves the door to his house open at all times so that people can drop by and get their meds.
Pick something up off the table.
That's not if I had especially an invalid wife and I was dealing with patients with mental issues, there's no way in hell. But
you're more thoughtful than Dr. Beery. That's true.
Well, but here's a question. Does that also speak to his potential disdain for his wife? Like, maybe I come home and one of my patients went a little nuts on her.
Dang. You live in a dark world, Ian.
I do. I live in the shadows. Speaking of shadows, the lights go out, and Sophia gets out of bed by tumbling to the floor. And what I loved is the physicality of this performance, because she's dragging herself across the floor. The actress, I don't know if she was actually, didn't have the use of her legs, but it was convincing enough. I kind of saw some things.
She has the use of her legs. She shows up in Sleepless later, standing up.
But was that done before or after this movie?
2001.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Unless she did 30 years of PT and now she's better.
Hey, but no, what I loved is she's dragging herself across the floor to get to the telephone. And meanwhile, we don't even see the killer do these things. It's not a POV moment. We just happen to see, like, the wheelchair that was across the room, it gets pulled back into the shadows.
Yeah.
And then later we see the telephone ringing and she's crawling to get to it. And then she looks up and all of a sudden the phone is gone. She makes her way over to a spiral staircase. And he comes up, the killer comes up from behind and attacks her, and then shoves her body over the railing. Now we've seen 1,000 of these movies where someone gets thrown over a really top railing and they fall and they crash land right on the floor and it's all painful. She falls like in the middle of the stairs. It's really kind of awkward and painful looking and just very creative. And to me, that was an indication that we're really doing something different with this movie. It's not going to play out, just as to Brian's point, it's not a splatter fest, but it's also not a conventional giallo kill kind of movie. It's very cruel and, much like my soul, apparently dark. But that parallel,
very engrossing too. Like it's not one of those movies that like it relies on this or that or whatever. Like the entire thing. Like I watched it like twice within the past week, I would say. And each time it was super engaging, like throughout the entire thing. And I'm not sure, because like to everybody's point, like there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of story. It's a lot of different, red herrings. There's a lot of different directions this movie could go, So the fact that like it just keeps moving, like it's just, I think it's one of the things I like best about this movie is that it's one of those giallo films that you could just put on, do your chores or whatever. It's in the background. You come back, watch it. It's like, especially if you've seen it multiple times, you know where it's going to go. So you're just kind of in there for the nuances of it,
And it's a nice tight 90 minutes. I mean,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
It really goes by very, very quickly, especially for me, when I'm just trying to concentrate on all these different character plots and these subplots. And you're
I like how Steve's experience is different than Brian's. Like Brian's like doing his dishes and Steve.
I know. I'm sitting there like, wait, hold on.
Well, that's the problem. You keep looking down to take notes, and you miss it.
Yeah, I know. but you know, that's a good point, though, and the fact that it's not ultra violent. It doesn't rely on horror tropes. It doesn't rely on the violence. It doesn't rely on graphic sexuality and nudity. But it just moves forward so brilliantly.
Yeah.
It's all about the composition of and the acting. It's
for sure.
It's great.
Well,
because the story too, right? Like the story isn't like, oh my god, I've never seen this before, or like it doesn't have some of the things like from maybe an Argento film where you're like,
well,
oh
yeah,
shit,
it's not like outrageous where you're just like, what?
Yeah. So
well,
like
there is one moment there towards the middle end of the movie that was quite surprising, outrageous, because Andrea follows Beanie, and when he picks up, I think Walter, which was Lou's brother, who's a race car driver. So we get this amazing,
among other
oh my god,
yes, among other things, for sure. We get this amazing shots of the racetrack where he's going like 3,000 miles an hour. I mean, the Wachowskis didn't top this in Speed Racer, but anyway,
like I just watched F1 again since like the theater, right? And then watching this, it was like, oh shit, like.
Well, so the two men get followed by our intrepid reporter / amateur detective back to a house, and he's peering through the window, and we see people in silhouette, like sitting around watching, and some are people I don't think we've seen yet in the movie. So like even more red herrings. There's a flock of them, or a school of red herrings, I guess. And then we see a young woman kind of step into frame, and a young man step into frame, who I guess was Walter, and they're both naked, but we can only see their silhouettes. And then they start going at it, and then there's this guy with a camera like walking around filming them, but he gets behind a light, and like that's gonna have to be edited out in whatever film they make out of this. Is sloppy. But there's all this weird sex cult or whatever stuff going on that again doesn't really have to do with the main thrust of the movie. It's just more business. But sorry, yes, that was not a pun, but now it's a pun.
Wow.
But I like the flavoring of it because it is kind of outrageous.
Well, like, what could hurt somebody with that thing? I'm telling you.
Man.
I wonder if that scene was even needed. You know, it was just.
It definitely was.
It was just
not for the lot,
was not, but
for
it
me.
was.
It was just weird. It was,
But I want to fast forward to the climax of this movie, which similar to Sophia's predicament at the beginning of the film, involves a dark house with someone who's been left alone. In this case, it's Helen, who is Andrea's ex, and she's going through divorce. Did I get that right? Like they used to be together, but now she's in a marriage ending.
Married to somebody else. They were never married.
Yeah, I think they.
But they used to be a thing, right?
They were a thing, but they were never married. And she married some rich guy and then has divorced him.
But she has a child who may or may not be Andrea's child.
Correct.
Well, I thought the same thing. But there's one scene where the child, Andrea shows up, and the child calls him, "Hey, Andrea." Andrea's here.
But so I don't think the kid knows that that's his dad.
Oh.
I think that has not been revealed, but I think that again, I think it could go either way, and I think deliciously so.
That's a good point, AC, because there's in the beginning when he first visits Helene, she says something about he wants to come into the house. She won't let him, but finally she lets him in, and she says something to the effect of, "Well, I want him to know that he still has a father," or something like that. It was weird.
Right.
I didn't quite get that. She shows a picture, and then she says that, and I'm like, wait, who's the father? It's like
right.
Yeah, I think I'd forgotten about that line, but now that you mention it, but here I've got two arguments as to why this kid is not Andrea's legitimate son. At no point do we see this little boy who's probably like 8 years old. We never see him with a bottle of JB,
or
he never shakes anybody. Okay, so right there.
That kid's awesome though, man. I mean,
man, like
he's asleep. He's asleep alone in the middle of the night, which is not a great, horrible parenting, and his nanny or whatever.
Mom's on a trip somewhere.
You got to do what you got to do, man.
Exactly.
I was a latchkey kid, so you know what I mean.
Yeah, me too. He gets up, he answers the phone. His mother gives him specific instructions. He's like, okay, hold on, wait a second. Goes, shuts everything off. He's a good kid. But here's what threw me about that last scene. Andrea was in the apartment the entire time. Before the kid locked himself in.
Before, like that's the part where like it hits you like a brick wall, after the scene that just unfolded, right? Like, but before we get there, right, just the decision to like have that door ajar, and he's just like shutting the door and then running off and doing all, you know what I mean? Just that one little tiny mental decision, that visual of like, wait a minute, the door was ajar. Like, what the fuck? What's going on? To me, watching it twice, even though I've seen this movie goddamn multiple times, just in ambiance, but sitting down and watching it twice, like it hit me the same way every time. It's like, it's that little just stroke of brilliance of just a storyteller, not necessarily spelling everything out for you, but just kind of laying it out, where it's like, holy shit, I see what I see, and that's like causing me to feel this way or whatever. So yes, like from that scene and the way it unfolds and all the blinds that go down and everything, it's like, holy shit, he's like trapping himself into this big building with whomever's in there, right? And then when Andrea comes out and it's like, wait, what the fuck? So it's like an unfortunate decision in that regard that like bookends that scene, unfortunately, for me.
Narratively and aesthetically, like
yes,
It's like you got something that's happening aesthetically that's pretty great. Narratively, you're
right.
Like, what the hell?
Right. Yep. Which is an unfortunate, like, you're like running with it, and then you step in the mud, and you're just like, fuck.
But then soon enough, Franco Nero's grabbing somebody and shaking him around, and all is right with the world.
Or if some people in the audience could get this one, you're skating down, you do this amazing trick, and then you hit a little pebble, and then you shoot forward.
Well, I think the scene where the kid is being pursued, and I'm reading the book by Jamie Nash called "Save the Cat Writes Horror," and it's all about the the conventions of writing a horror screenplay. But I just got done reading this section about the narrowing of the space in the climax. So in this case, we go from the wide open house to a smaller room to a door that leads to a corridor to, oh my gosh, there's really nowhere to go. I think that is creepily effective, especially with those latex gloves coming at you from the kid's point of view. I mean, this is like, you can tell you're looking up at these things and you're wondering, like, I feel like the movie has been freewheeling enough with just a tinge of darkness that they're not actually going to kill the kid, especially because I don't think he's been important enough a character to have that mean anything other than being exploitive if they did that. But I did love it when the killer gets taken out or distracted into running away by Andrea. I thought that was a great hero moment. And then when he's pursuing through that abandoned building, this is what you're talking about with your rule of three, because I think he had slapped a couple of people during the lead up to this climax, so he's got it in him. But he's doing like He-Man power punches, like the old action figures where you turn him at the waist and then he'd swing back with spring-loaded action,
like his entire body.
Yep. He's doing that, or like Daniel at the end of Karate Kid 2. Just the drum maneuver, it's amazing. And he's like throwing him through windows. I also like
so many windows.
Right. But there's this one part where, again, our hero is going downstairs, or maybe it's the fire escape.
Fire escape, yeah.
Right. He's kind of like balancing himself off of one and jumping down to the other. And just barely in the frame, you can see the killer picking up that iron rod that he's going to use in the very next scene. Because if you're not paying attention, you're just watching Nero, you might miss it. But it's setting up that attack. So if you do catch, you're like, oh, he's in trouble once he lands. But it also has that satisfying thing it could have been, and here's your Friday the 13th reference.
There we go.
The episode.
There we
could
go.
have been Roy at the end of A New Beginning, where the killer gets thrown down onto the sharp objects and he dies. In this one, the killer falls, a decent height, but he still lives, and he gets carted away by the cops, and he's all scarred and everything. Although I appreciate it because it helped make sense of everything that had gone on, there's a little bit too much Basil exposition voiceover on Andrea's part at the end, like describing, he's basically reading the Wikipedia of the movie at the end of the movie.
Total giallo ending. Absolutely.
Yes. And much appreciated, Franco. So thank you.
And I love the shot, the very, like, the close of the movie. There's like how they drive off in that dark escape or whatever, and then you get that like little.
It's like the parking garage, right?
Yeah. But the way that it frames, it's like so. It almost made me feel like a little gothy. You know what I mean?
Well, and very similar to the tunnel, like that he was chasing the kid down.
Well, even before that, it's a direct mirror to the opening of the film, where we've got our villain's voiceover, and we're seeing that fisheye perspective of the party, but it's all surrounded in black. It's like confined to this weird mirrored orb, and we get that at the very end with the tunnel, as you mentioned. But it also ends on a very odd shape. It like kind of ends in a V. Which, I was just, again, I got to thinking about Lou. Anyhow, we're going to leave it there. I want to say thank you, everybody, for talking about this really remarkable film, The Fifth Chord. You said Bazzoni did a couple other movies in the genre. I don't know if we've talked about those.
Well, he did The Possessed in 1965, which we spoke about earlier, which was a little bit more Hitchcockian, kind of like a noir mystery type of crime thing. But he also did Footprints on the Moon, which is definitely worth checking out. That's another head scratcher. But you'll be in for a good time because, again, the stylism is there, the composition's there. It's got the same cinematographer. It's I wouldn't necessarily call it giallo, but it's got that kind of weird Italian vibe to it. So it's worth a look.
Footprints on the Moon. Is that just another wacky title like Bird with the Crystal Plumage or Black Day of the Ram?
So.
Or does it have something to do with like an Apollo documentary? I don't know.
It actually comes into play in one of the lead characters' dreams. So it's part of the movie, but it's not part of the movie. It's basically one of the dreams she had. So
nice.
Give it a shot.
I shall.
I would say we check out The Visitor.
Oh God. Yeah.
as a companion piece or whatever. I don't know. But I do want to really quick mention.
Hang on. Well, I'm sorry. How are those connected? You just throwing out some
Franco
random
Nero,
title?
man. Like just
okay.
No, but because he's amazing in that movie.
He is.
Just the way that he is in that movie is crazy. But I also wanted to mention too, because I discovered it during while I was watching this film again this past week. There's a YouTube channel called King and Giallo or something. And he does a bit about this particular movie, and it's amazing because there's like a chime where there's like a giallo point or whatever as the movie progresses. So like all these things that he kind of just like picked off, I was like, oh my God, yeah, that's giallo. Oh, that's giallo. Oh, that's giallo. So it was like a fun time watching this movie again with that like sort of companion thing in the background. Just wanted to mention that because it was fun.
Well, I might hit you up to get a link to that because I like to put that down in the description.
Sure.
But as we established, we don't need any clues as to whether or not it's a giallo because of that early scene with the giant bottle during the
hero
driving scene. Yes, the shot is the operative word. Okay, so everyone, a couple more comments before we close out. This movie sounds like giallo noir, says Spaceball 20. It very much is, and I think mostly because we have our Philip Marlowe stand-in here with Franco Nero. Let's see. Next time, Who Saw Her Die? It's one of my personal faves and a predecessor to Don't Look Now.
Did we talk about that one yet?
I don't know. The name sounds familiar. I'm not sure.
That's the one with George Lazenby.
Oh,
I don't know if we've talked about that one. I know it's been on our list.
I don't think we've. I don't think we've talked about that one.
Well, I will have. I'm writing it down to flag and have a look. So, the King Giallo has the movie. Has this movie is his favorite of the year of our Lord 1971. Also, there's a J and B count. Ooh, all right.
Nice. Yes, yeah. So the King and Giallo.
The King and Giallo.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good call.
Okay, I'll look up that.
It's linked right there.
About this one. Huh? Well, it's referenced, but not.
Well, no, I'm just
not actually linked.
Speaking of links, there's not one down there right now because this is relatively recent news and I don't have time to put one in there. But I'm going to do a shameless shill for myself as we close out here, and for a panelist who could not make it here today, Mr. John Kitley. Kicking the Seat and the Discover the Horror podcast have both been nominated for Best Podcast of the Year by the Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards.
Nice.
So,
very cool.
Thank you. And I want to, huge shout out to this panel and also to AC, because I think the video that's linked on the Hatton page for nominations is actually our first episode of Castle Freaks.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, but we also talked about Hammerland and all that good stuff. So there are a ton of great people in a number of categories. So I'm going to leave a link down below after this episode for people to go and vote. So if you, I'm stumping out there because I'm nominated, but also Kitley's on there and probably other favorite horror creators. So even if you don't vote for me, vote for us.
It is a great way to find.
Yeah,
it's a great way to find like other, like you said, horror creators and fellow nominees and things like that.
And the other great thing about the rondos is that it's pretty much every category of horror media. Interviews, print magazines, movies,
DVD commentaries.
Yes. You will find, even if you just go look at the list, you're going to find some kind of a rabbit hole to fall down. But just make sure you vote for somebody. But anyway, I want to thank all of you for hanging out for another great episode, a series of great episodes. AC, what do you want to say?
I know you're wrapping up, and I was going to, the reason I'm wearing my Kitley's Crypt t-shirt is because John is at Horror Hound Weekend right now, which is why he's not able to join us. But I wanted to mention that, Brian, you and I met at Horror Hound Weekend this time of year 12 years ago.
12 years, Jesus Christ! Don't do that, AC.
We met in 2008 because it was when Hidden Horror was coming out. And anyway, it's been great knowing you for 12 years, and I'm sorry John wasn't here as well. But that's where he's at, and it just struck me. I was like, oh my gosh, it was Horror Hound, and here we are.
Crazy. I got chills right now, and that's not because it's cold down here. But
anyway, so John, sending good vibes out to you. Hope you bring home lots of fun stuff.
Cool.
Yes. Oh, also, and check out the Discover the Horror podcast. Check out the book that started it all, Discover the Horror. And I interviewed Kitley about that when the book came out in 2019. I think right before everything went down. So, folks,
get this release.
Get that release or hold out for a 4K. There's got to be one coming. I'm not sure what we'll be talking about in May when we come back for our next class. It might be Who Saw Her Die. It might be something else. Maybe something with Franco Nero. Who knows? But anyway, I want to thank you, everybody out there. If you like this live stream, please like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Tell your friends to join us back here next time for Accademia Giallo. And until then, whenever that is, whatever that is. Oh, sorry. Check out our fearsome faculty. All their information and links will be down below. Take care, and class dismissed. See, I got the ending in this time. I'm getting better at this. For only half a decade. Wow.